What is going on, guys? Today, and we have had a beautiful leak. We have had Foot Hero Fantasy, or Hero Foot Fantasy. If obviously you've not known, Foot Fantasy is the next promo that is coming in FIFA, and normally a relatively good one. So I'm absolutely excited to see whether this can really be the next kind of big one to kind of get ourselves back into the FIFA mood. It normally is something that requires team games rather than necessarily the kind of opponent, like rather than the player actually doing it. So want to watch upgrades happen for the in-game performance of that player. What normally Foot Fantasy is the team itself. So if we have a quick look on Footbin, obviously Sheriff, if you don't know who he is, go check him out at Foot Sheriff. He normally gives you a lot of the leaks, a good amount of graphics, to be honest. And this is kind of the way he's starting. So for instance, a Yaya Toure, a great example, would love a Yaya Toure. The ratings obviously aren't confirmed or anything, but you'd have, for instance, a campaign launch. So that is, if you was to pack Yaya Toure Friday straight away, it would be a 90 rated. Then obviously in the next 6 games, for instance, it is just a theory. It's an example. It's not necessarily actually yet. We've not had the full confirmation of what the requirement is for the upgrade. Normally it's 5 clean sheets in 10, say, or the team has to score 4 goals in the next 10 matches. So for instance, there normally is two upgrades normally, but again, it depends on what the requirements are. They could do 3, they could do 4. There is no limit on this. We only got it last year in the sense of 2. As we see, they are coming into the promo and will be able to receive upgrades based on their performance of their former club. So I believe what we are being hearing is that they will be basically their former club, so whoever they played for last. So Yaya Toure obviously would be Man City. It'll be interesting to see if they go league and maybe do a requirement for the league. That would actually be really interesting to have, for instance, say a Rashford, just because he's on there. If Man U was to win 3 of their next 10 games, then obviously he gets an upgrade. Then obviously say if the team scores 10 goals in the next 10 games, but then for the heroes, they could potentially have, in the Premier League, they could have X amount of goals, X amount of clean sheets. It would be interesting to see if they could do a league requirement. That one might be a little bit more complicated, which we know they probably would have made a mistake by now, but if they are the former club, that would be very interesting. The example of it is Yaya Toure when he was at City. If they win 1 out of the next 6 league games, obviously that doesn't count any Champions League. Most likely we'll have hero leagues instead of their former club. Shouldn't be all heroes included. Avoids defeats means only W's or draws. So yeah, so they basically, draws mean nothing. Losses obviously are losses. Wins are the main thing that we need. Obviously, like he says, Yaya Toure is obviously a prediction. The card, though, looks clean. We normally know that the Foot Fantasy, most promo cards are most definitely the cleanest cards we've seen. As we go down a little bit, Ollie, not a bad shout, to be honest. I think it is just Yaya at the moment. Ginola would be incredible. I feel like Ginola's more than likely going to be waiting to Shapeshifter, but if they do a Ginola, we'll have a look at some of the other cards. I feel like everybody's just gone for the Yaya. Ginola, obviously, striker. We saw him last year. PSG as well, that'd be interesting. Or even an Aston Villa. We've got Gakpo, obviously, that's just generic Foot Fantasies now. So we have getting leaks left, right and centre for them. If we was to have a look into Footbin then, with the players that obviously got the heroes. Are you tired of using players like this? I would much rather have teams more like this. Then I recommend going over to skycoach.gg for all of your coaching and coins needs. They are cheap, fast and reliable, but at the checkout make sure you are using code JT11 for a discount on your orders. Back to the video. For the World Cup hero as well as then just your standard. So realistically, they more than likely will have both. I don't think just because there's a World Cup hero doesn't mean that they're not going to get, for instance, a fantasy hero. But in terms of what we've got, I think we got a whole page. So we got what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. We got 30 bang on. Okay, that was interesting. And then where is the normal heroes? I can never find them on here, I swear. They're there. So in terms of actual heroes, I know there's another page. So we have got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So realistically, we're only missing 11 players out of the full 41 then to actually get an upgrade. So 11 of them, more than likely. Ledley King, I believe, is on the market now, so he could be due an upgrade at some point, but he came in last. Rickon, again, there is a few that would be interesting. They've definitely got to have a few top ones. So realistically, Yaya Toure is number one on the list to sell packs. If that is what they're going for, he would be everybody's shout. Ginola would be a cracking one because we obviously didn't get him to start with, so that'd be an interesting one. Abide Pele, again, another one that didn't get an upgrade. Dina Tale would be one on my list, and it all depends on where they're looking for in terms of the hero kind of schedule now, because we don't know any of the icon schedule. We know we obviously got World Cups, and then we managed to get icon team of the years. Is this going to be the the Foot Fantasy Heroes, and then we get icon Foot birthdays? We have not a clue on the schedule of these two types of cards, because they've just never given us one now. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But I think this is absolutely a massive dub for any of them, to be honest, because all of them get upgraded, but heroes most definitely are one that really attracts attention, especially a Lucio, a Voller. Some of them could be absolutely crazy. What I could imagine is very much like we see with the Yaya Toure here, is we might get a standard launch. So for instance, like the World Cup hero, we could get a, for instance, what did we get for, what is Yaya Toure's 80, is it 88 or 89? I know he's somewhere, but I can't find him. Yaya Toure is, why can't I find him? Let me know if you can see him. I can't. There he is. As soon as I move it. So he's an 87, 89. Yeah. So more than likely what we'd see is you'd get a 1 upgrade on that, with then the potential to get a 1, 2 or 3 upgrade. Maybe traits, maybe weak foot. I feel like if they added a weak foot and skill move upgrade as well, that would be absolutely perfect. Say you had a +1 for 4 wins out of 10. You then had, say for instance, normally what they did is defensive mid all the way into the defense is clean sheets, and then cams, centre mids, left mid, left wing, and then strikers are all goal related. Then if you had that as well, you got a +2. Then if you managed to complete the final one and completed the other 2, it'd be really nice to maybe get a skill move and weak foot upgrade. Imagine a 5-star Yaya. That would be perfect, as long as everything aligned and that final one was difficult to do. It would be a nice one. I feel like they could make this really complicated and actually nice to follow along with it. And I think that was kind of like the big thing with this, is that you got to follow along with football. If you are a football fan as well, it's almost like putting a bet on, because you're watching Aston Villa versus Bournemouth hoping for 15 goals. It's something very interesting to see, and I hope that they really do this well with the heroes, because this could be a massive one for them. If we're looking in general at other players that I'd be excited for, hero-wise, I feel like you've got your standard. Oh, we get them all here. You got your standard. Lucio is top dog in a centre-back. If he manages to get one, that's the best centre-back on the game. Hands down, worth 3 to 5 mil, 100%. I'd then be excited. Ginola, standard. If we go a bit further down, somebody not as a standard one. Harry Kewell could be quite a nice one. I feel like Mascherano could be an easy shout. Melito, maybe not necessarily the one that you'd want, but like I said, if you manage to get the weak foot upgrade or their skill move upgrade, a 4-star, 5-star, 4-star, 4-star, I think it just adds an element to the game that we definitely could do with. Other than that, Robbie Keane would be nice, but he got an SBC, so I don't really see him in there. I can imagine it will be a lot of Prem, maybe a lot of League One focused. I can imagine it will be Major League orientated, so maybe your Alwarans, your Aljabbas, your Camposes might not see it, but they could surprise us. I can imagine we probably get a Peter Crouch, which is the unfortunate one, unless they really boost him up. I just don't see it going very well for him. Landon Donovan, again, being in the MLS, might not be too bad of a shout. Smolarek in the Polish League for the World Cup could bring himself back to the Bundes if they are picking a specific team that they played for. Maybe they do that. It is, for instance, Park Ji-sung, for instance. No, in fact, no, I want somebody who I know a couple of clubs. We say, who do I know who's got a lot of clubs? It's my Nakata. Why have I drawn a blank with everybody's clubs? So say we go with Diego Forlan, just because I know full well. So say Forlan's got a Man U, or Atletico version. What would be interesting is if we had Diego Forlan, but then his league is Prem and his team is Man U, but they also could have chosen La Liga to be his league, but his individual stats upgraded are based on Atletico's performance. That, again, could be an interesting one. Whether they actually do that is down to the question, but I feel like this could be a massive dub for any sort of upgrades for all of these heroes. Obviously, the promo team itself would be really good. I feel like this is definitely going to be a nice promo. So, EA, I'm fingers crossed, this has got to be the one. Let me know what you think and who would you be most excited to see a FUT Fantasy hero from. Apart from that, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.